Hello. Fire is our ancient heritage. As a species, it is the foundation of all of our technologies. And all of our ancestors, the majority of them, knew how to make fire with friction just by gleaning materials from this beautiful wilderness that is and used to be our home. And today I want to show you how that used to happen. We have Eredzeron canadensis, the old man of the spring, because early in the spring when it comes out, it is having these little tiny white hairs on it, like an old man. And we have willow. This is a white willow, which in the Latin is Salix alba. Sal being water, lix being princess, alba being white, of course. Salix alba is the white princess of the water. They say fire makes the cold warm, the dark light, the dangerous safe, and the inedible edible. We've got a little bit of flat surface and flat surface. And we've got this, our spindle. We have to make a little divot for our spindle to sit into. Now both these woods have a low lignin, high cellulose content, which means they initiate pyrolysis with a greater efficiency more quickly than woods with a high lignin and low cellulose content. And pyrolysis, as we all know, is the first process of chemical change that occurs with heat and no oxygen, or low oxygen, that then initiates combustion. And so first we tune these two materials to each other by adding speed and pressure to get friction. And when we have friction, we have heat. Now come have a look real close. See that little bit of smoke that's starting to occur? You can move the camera around. Come, take a look at this. Notice how the outer layer, the outer edge of this diameter is black and the inner is brown. And see this little bit of punk? That's our fuel. That is mostly cellulose. It has been ground into a dust by this and this grinding against each other and removing material. Now we cut a little notch, and this notch is going to be where our fuel accumulates and where our heat accumulates in the fuel. And when we get that to a high enough temperature, we have combustion. And when we have combustion, then we can start to make a proper fire that'll warm us. And there's an old story about Hephaestus from the Greeks, and he was the god of smithery and blacksmithing and clever trinkets and mechanics and things like this. And he was a master of fire. He used fire to be able to create all of his wondrous inventions. And Prometheus wanted to help out the humans, so he stole fire away. Guess where he hid it? He hid it in fennel. And fennel grows a long stalk that you can use to make friction fires. And there's another old story In fact, there's many old stories about fire being stolen by crafty humans or given to them from someone else stealing it. And usually those stories tell a cautionary tale about how humans might not use fire appropriately, and then there would be trouble. And there's an old story from the North American continent about a long, long time ago. All the creatures got together and they were like, "Oh, humans are starting to get the hang of things. We should hide fire before they find out how to use it, because they won't use it wisely." And they said, "Well, where should we hide it?" And the buzzard said, "We should hide it on the top of the mountains." And then somebody was like, no. Humans are good climbers. They'll probably find it up there." And mole said, "Well, we should hide it down in the earth." And they said, no, we shouldn't hide it there either, because humans, they live in caves and they dig. And beaver said, "We should hide it by the water." And so they did. But of course, humans found it. And an interesting thing about that story, hiding it in fennel, hiding it near water, plants that tend to grow near water tend to have a high cellulose content and a low lignin content. Also, plants that grow with low mechanical stress and grow fast also exhibit this high cellulose, low lignin content. Lignins, of course, are the fibers. Cellulose are kind of like the glues. And what's interesting to understand is, down in the rivers, they're in the center of the valleys, so they get the least amount of the wind and the most amount of sunlight. So they get low mechanical stress, hence they don't need as much fibers. And they get a lot of sunlight, so they can grow fast. So when we're finding materials, it's usually the best place to look. Let's make sure we get a good view right down where that smoke's occurring. Now, the fire triangle. The three things we need for combustion: fuel, heat, oxygen. Oxygen from air. Our breath has less oxygen in it because we've digested some of it. Also has more moisture. This is why we wave instead of blow. But then again, they say chi, prana, breath, atman. It's like soul. It's good to add a little life into things. Remember, this process, this is why we're all alive, because the majority of our ancestors could do this. And all of our technologies are based off of our brilliant ancestors who could take 2 sticks and find a rock that acted as a knife, tune these materials together, find them in the right place, in a way that allowed us to thrive. To make the cold warm, the unsafe safe, the inedible edible, and the dark light.